Hey guys, I'm gonna do a walk around as promised of the car because my days are dwindling with it. Not sure when the last day is gonna come with the car, but I know that it's coming here soon. So I'm just gonna walk around the car, warm it up real quick, and just do a walk around of the car on scene over a couple towns over. So yeah, definitely want to show you guys what kind of condition this thing is in before I get rid of it. I think you guys are going to really like, especially the interior. And here is the car. Just give you a quick walk around of it. The front end, to be perfect, I would respray. It's got a drilled front bumper. The hood has some rock chips. There's the rear end. It shows really nicely. And here is the interior, which was in great shape before, but I had them redo the front seats, which are now perfect. I mean, just no bolster wear at all or anything like that. It's perfect, and it's perfectly matched with the rear seats and the door cards. E92 M3. Let's drive it. Pretty high mileage car, 140K. It's really 139, but I figured I'd do this, like I said before, because I don't know when this car's gonna leave. So, yeah, give you my driving impressions of the car, how it feels to drive. Kind of similar to my last video, or to one of the videos I've uploaded. I want to do this in a way that kind of lets you guys in on some things about the car that maybe people don't talk about. I've already kind of mentioned a few. One of them is the size. It really does feel big, especially on back roads. I'm on tight back roads, and it does feel big, especially compared to my E36. But my E91, it feels smaller. This car's wider. The hood bulge, I don't know what it is. It's a coupe. Maybe it's a longer wheelbase by a little bit. I don't know what it is, but this car does feel big. Part of it is you're expecting this thing to be agile because it's an M3 after all. This thing's gonna drive me crazy. I have the manual back here. So part of it is that you're expecting it to be nimble and great at cornering, and it is, but it definitely feels big. So that's the number one thing that kind of comes to mind when I'm driving this. Number two, I would say it's pretty boring, like right now. It's really comfortable. It's quiet in here. The AC's going. It feels, like a great place to be. But it's just boring unless you're really thrashing on it. And I'm not really, I'm not trying to be going go to jail speeds all the time. I want to have fun. I want to have a good amount of fun when I get into this thing, and unless I'm in that mood, it's boring, Unless I'm going to thrash it around and let it rev to 8 grand plus, it's kind of boring. Like, I would say below 4,000, it's pretty boring, which takes up, 80-90% of your driving time is below 4,000 RPM. In this car, maybe it's a little less because you got to rev it to get some torque out of it, but we are warmed up now, so I'm just gonna give it some. I'll let you guys hear it too. It sounds great. It sounds phenomenal. Obviously, the S65 is one of the best parts of this car. So I've got M mode on, which nicely stiffens up the suspension. That was 4.5. Got some cracks and crackles and pops rather. it just feels bloated around these turns. It feels huge. I'm on stock suspension, so, and we've got some cars. Wow. I'm on stock suspension, so some of you guys maybe are going to be like, of course it's on stock suspension, but that wouldn't be an issue if it weren't for the fact that, you know, aftermarket options are well into the thousands. So it's not something that's just like, oh, it's just an easy remedy. You know, it's like you gotta have a lot of disposable income to kind of do what you want with this thing. And even then, it's like, is it wise? You're starting off with a very heavy chassis, and it's just, are you trying to make it something that it'll never be? I'd love to drive a really sorted one of these and see how it feels back here. You know, on some of these smaller, tighter roads. I think for the big, windy stuff, this car is very good for that. It's got so much power, and it really does. It feels like a supercar with 4 seats. It really does. Some of the things that the chassis does is just, you can't really surprise the thing or make it too uncomfortable. You really got to be doing something crazy to make this chassis really upset with you. And even when it does start to go, it's so controllable and gentle with you and forgiving. Yeah, it's amazing how they do that. But, you know, I would say that the size, not to go on too long about this, but the size is something that's really disappointing to me. Just how it feels, you know. Even if it's not actually that big, it just feels big. And so that makes the E46 really attractive to me as a potential next car, but not with all the issues that it has. And sorry, I'm not giving it some gas here. I've got somebody in front of me. But now with the big 3 and having to worry about that and valve adjustments, and you got all the negatives of this motor too, but just 80 less horsepower, 81 less horsepower. And so, you know, and I know that I love the E36M so much. I'd love to do one of those and throw on some individual throttle bodies. You know, that'd be real fun. Get the suspension really nice and aggressive, but still enjoyable. That'd be great. I'd love that. Let me take a different road here. Oh, do they have construction on here? You might hear road work. Wow. You might hear some weird noises from my brakes. It's because it needs some new rotors. But let's give it some revs. Yeah, I mean, it sounds ridiculous. It feels like you get, you know, a really exotic motor for a very reasonable price. Shifter is, I would say it's okay. It's nothing great. The E36 shifter I thought was much better. This feels a little bit more rubbery, a little less connected. I had a ZHP knob on my E36 one, which before the ZHP knob, it felt pretty bad as well. So a ZHP knob on this, I wouldn't be surprised if that makes a really huge difference. All right, guys. Like I said, I wanted to make just a quick kind of, you know, review of this, driving this thing before it leaves my hands. There's not really too much else that I wanted to touch on, honestly. It's a really comfortable car, like I've said. It's got a bunch of power. It's just too big for me. It's a little too disconnected for me. The steering, I will add on the steering. The steering is not as connected as I would like it to be for a hydraulic rack. This is one of the least inspiring hydraulic racks I've driven. The ratio is phenomenal. It's really fast. It just doesn't tell you that much about what's going on. And even through your butt, the chassis doesn't tell you too much about what's going on. Also, first gear is useless, but I'm sure you've heard that before. Oh, I didn't need a downshift there. Going downhill. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Enjoy the walk around, enjoy the drive with me here.
on
some Tennessee winding back roads. I'm gonna get a second camera and let you guys see out the front too, because man, when springtime comes and the trees fill up with leaves, it's just stunning back here. Anyways, guys, have a great one. Take care, and I'll see you guys for the next one.